Good evening, welcome to a Sunday special of Let's Bowl Boxing. We thought it was only apt that we jump on following last night's fight between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. Joined by regulars Andy and Daz. I'll start with you, Andy. Good evening.
How are you, fella?
All good, all good. And last but in no way least, Daz. How you going, Daz?
You all right, mate?
All good, all good. So let's get straight into it then. So there's only one place to start really, and that's with the main event from last night. I'm sure we're all very surprised, apart from probably Joe, who's no doubt going to jump on the show sooner rather than later. I'll come to you first, Daz, as a qualified coach, not like two toe eggs like me and Ander. What were your thoughts regarding Liam Smith, and just give us a breakdown of the fight?
I just thought I'm a bit baffled by Smith, if I'm honest. I know in hindsight it's come out that he had to lose supposedly 3 stone. I mean, why that's been allowed to happen, you have to ask questions of his training team. If he's had to lose it as fast as what is insinuated he's had to lose it, you definitely have to ask questions of, his training team. It's not good. It's not healthy. There's no possible way that can be lost in an healthy way when you've got potentially 12 tough rounds in front of you. I mean, am I right in saying that he's had a back injury or something? Yeah. So he couldn't train or run or something. Yeah. Listen, postpone the fight. Let a doctor have a look at your back. Postpone the fight. Get right, and then go in as close to 100% as you can. Why on earth you'd go in at a disadvantage like that? I don't know. I think it's crazy, absolutely crazy. And like I said, questions have got to be asked around about his team. For me, if that's the case.
And also, what the thing that surprises me does before I come to Andy is part of such a experienced fighting family as well. Surely Paul Smith should be, and Stephen Smith, and even Callum Smith saying, "Hold on a minute, if you're having to shift that much weight."
But it shouldn't fall down to his family. It should for his trainers.
I agree, but they should still be in his ear, shouldn't they?
They might have been. They might have been. But my point is, Smith was. I mean, let's be right. Liam was terrible. Yeah. And there were obviously factors for that. I think he rolled his ankle on the knockdown as well, which didn't help. I mean, if you weren't feeling great because of the weight, and then rolled his ankle, I mean, it's just one thing after another. But Eubank, let's be fair to Chris Jr., he was very good. Yeah. I've said all along, Chris Jr. is a very good fighter, but he doesn't listen. I mean, I'm not too sure that Bomac's done a miracle job. It's probably just a little bit of a
not in 5 weeks.
You what, mate?
Not in 5 weeks.
No, just a little bit of a little bit of guidance, a little bit of thing. But you see, Junior might have actually finally woken up and thought, yeah, maybe I do need to listen. Maybe I do need to apply myself. And use the physical tools he's got. I just think it were a case. I think it was bad judgment from if what Liam's saying is true. I think it's really bad judgment by his team to allow it to carry on, to go ahead.
Yeah.
I would have been advising him that sort of weight needs to be lost in the time frame. Short space of time. I think it'd have been a case it needs to be postponed. The back injury is obviously, a factor. You can't run and stuff. So let's get a doctor. Let's get pushed back.
Andy?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to Chris Eubank Jr. He beat Well, he did the job on who was in front of him. And you've also got to think about and talk about how much mental pressure he must have been under after that first fight. And he's always been a very confident kid, Chris Eubank Jr. But when you get, for whatever the circumstances were around that first fight, whether it was to do with a weight cut, and the fact that he weight cut for Ben and then he weight cut a second time for Liam, whether it was down to that he had no chin or he was susceptible, whatever, he still would have had a few demons about that. No matter what he says in public, he still would have been doubting himself. So coming into this fight, the mental strength he must have needed and had, you've got to give him credit for. That being said, that wasn't Liam Smith that he fought last night. That was a shell of Liam Smith. So all credit where it's due. Well done, Chris Eubank Jr. You got the result. You did a decent job against who was in front of you. I think he fought very. What's the word I'm looking for? Within himself. He wasn't throwing wild shots, really. He was boxing really well behind the jab, and picking Liam off at will. But we're talking about a fighter that wasn't throwing back. We're talking about a fighter that looked like he was treading in quicksand. From the very first bell call, he had no legs. I mean, no. And Daz just spoke about him turning his ankle. He was doing it 3 or 4 times around. I was looking at his footwork, and it was non-existent. That's not Liam Smith. Liam Smith gets in range and out of range quickly. He closes the gaps. There was none of that. So I'm hearing on the side that what he's saying about his weight cut is fact. There's one thing about the Smith family is they don't bull. You don't get no crap. It is what it is. They say it how it is. And if he's saying that he's had to lose 3 stone because of his back injury and he couldn't train, then he's had to lose 3 stone. Now, going back to what Daz said, the reason or why has he got himself to 3 stone overweight? That's the question. And that's kind of what shocked me because I didn't know anything about this until after the fight. Until Liam said it, I knew nothing about this.
I don't think nobody did they?
No, well, they obviously keep things in house, don't they?
Yeah.
He said that Eubank knew about it, so clearly people within the circle of the fight knew. I find it very strange because he's a very professional fighter, Liam Smith. And Cole's mentioned obviously the brothers and how tight they are as a unit, how close they are as a family, and they're always down the gym with each other, and they're always backing each other up. And I find that bit a little bit bizarre and a little bit strange because, like I say, they are very professional as a unit, and Liam especially. There's no airs and graces. There's no bull crap. He goes in, he trains, and that's it. He turns up.
Well, there's got to be some kind of review, hasn't there? Where did it go wrong? Because he's drastically gone wrong, and there's a lot of points.
Drastically gone wrong. I mean, were they banking on because of how easily they beat Eubank the first time round? Were they banking on? Well, okay, he's got to lose 3 stone, but we'll beat him easily anyway. Were they thinking like that? I'd be surprised.
I mean, that is if they are, then that's very, very, very complacent.
I'd be surprised if they were, but that's a possibility when you think about that much weight loss. I mean, he did a good job of covering it up in the build up. He did a good job of covering it up in the face-offs and the weigh-in and the public workout, and even sat in his dressing room prior to the fight. He didn't look like anything else but the normal Liam Smith. But you cut, like Daz has just said, you can't cut that sort of weight in that time and it not affect you on a 12-round fight.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that they ought to have a third fight. It ain't gonna happen because Chris Eubank, now he's got the victory, he won't want to go there again. Chris will know deep down. He'll know deep down that wasn't Liam Smith last night.
I still that version of Eubank Junior though does go longer with Liam Smith.
Yeah, oh yeah. Very competitive, mate. He was strong, he was sharp, he was accurate, and he wasn't doing his normal crap of.
He wasn't wasting shots either.
Wasn't wasting shots, and he wasn't performing to the crowd. He wasn't taking seconds off. He was focused. So maybe that is something that Beaumack's brought in, is stay focused.
Yeah, like I said, it was a shell of a Liam Smith. We were slightly robbed of a very, very intriguing fight, wasn't we? Because it was a very, very one-sided fight, and it wasn't great viewing either. So it wasn't great viewing at all. I mean, okay, let's talk about Liam Smith. Where does he go next if it's not Eubank Jr.? And
I don't know, mate. I would say he's probably going to end up staying at middleweight. At this stage in his career, mate, he can't go back. He can't start again. He's going to have to go straight into another big fight. You know, he don't have time. He's 35 now. He don't have time to take a couple of, you know, European level fighters. He ain't got time for that.
He's got nothing to offer though, has he? Coming off a loss.
No, he hasn't. But this is where his promoter's got to do his job.
He's got his name.
You've seen it with other promotions where a fighter's lost and then he's got a world title the next fight. You know, because whoever's the world champion thinks, well, he's easy touch now. We'll get him. You know, he's just been beat up. We'll get him as in next time.
I'll be intrigued to see what they do with him. Let's see what Ben Shalom can do for him, because I think that was his last fight under boxing, under his current deal, wasn't it?
I don't know, mate.
I think he might find he's a free agent now. Daz, what would you do with him next?
I mean, it depends what Liam wants to do himself. He's gonna have ideas, but at middleweight, it's tough, really. You know, light middleweight. I've heard a little rumor that Josh Kelly's chucking his name into that.
See, Marku wants him, don't he? Marku called him out, didn't he?
Yeah. Not only that, Ben Shalom told Marku to call him out.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I don't know, mate. It's like, you see, these guys like Kelly and stuff. Are they going to look at Liam and think it's a good stepping stone? But then again, if Liam turns up proper, it's a bad night for him. But
is the money there in the fights for Liam? That's what I've been treating though, because he's earned a pound note, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think there is. I mean, obviously he's going to want the trilogy, Liam. Do you know what, mate? I'm really at a loss, and to think who, you know, that's going to make sense. I mean, look, I don't know. You know, I sort of look and I watched it, and I sort of look at it, and I think, you know, maybe.
What about Tim? What about Tim Tszyu?
I don't know. It's going to be a big fight, but I think, mate, we're going to have these British middleweights clamoring for a fight, William.
Do you not think?
I think Shiraz is going to be calling for it, if I'm honest.
I'm just wondering, he fancied Tim Tszyu fight though, Anthony, and he could travel to Australia and still get that fight, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think Hamza Shiraz is going to be calling for Liam Smith fight after that. Mm. I think there's a lot of British middleweights, mate, gonna fancy job after that.
It'll be a shame, won't it, if he starts fighting Dan, you know, British roots and getting beat. You know, if he's done, I mean, Anthony Farley proved himself that his levels above British and European levels. So,
well, I mean,
I wonder if he's got any motivation left. That's all I wonder.
Well, I mean, he went 10. We on fire Eubank, didn't he? And he would know what, and he was a shell, like Andy says. So he's listen, a right Liam Smith is a top draw fighter.
Only he'll know though if he's still in there, does, won't he?
Yeah, but it's coming off that loss. He don't bring anything to the table.
No.
So maybe, it'd have to be B-side, in a big fight, which I'm sure he won't mind.
What about you, Andy? Where would you take him if you was playing matchmaker?
I don't know, mate. My personal opinion is, if I was Ben Shalom and if I was Liam Smith, he's a very proud man. I think Liam would automatically want to put that wrong right even. I know it's 1-1 now. I think he'd want to show. Hold on a minute, that wasn't me.
I don't think he'll get Eubank back in the ring though. So
maybe not, but when it comes to Eubank, mate, money talks. So they can clearly sell out. They can clearly sell out a massive arena, and I'm sure there's even more intrigue in the fight now. It's 1-1. Liam did a number on him first time. Eubank did a number on Liam the second time. What's going to happen the third time? It's an even bigger fight than it has been for the first two.
But the way he was talking in the press side, don't look like that's going to happen, does it?
No. I'm sure Chris Eubank wants to move on, but where to? So think about it like that. Where does Chris Eubank go next?
Well, they're talking Conor Benn, aren't they?
Conor Benn's not got a license, mate.
He's fighting, but it'll not be in England, will it?
Yeah, it will.
It's not going to be in England.
Conor Benn was interviewed in the crowd, and they asked him where the fight needs to take place because obviously he said, "I want Eubank." They asked him where the fight needs to take place, and Conor Benn himself said England. So until he gets a license, that fight's not happening.
Well, he's fighting in Florida, isn't he? Apparently.
Against who? Nobody.
Radkitch or something.
Nobody. So he's fighting in Florida just to get him out, right? That's okay. That's by the by.
We know he's going to get a license.
Eubank, he's got to be in England. It'll be at Wembley, mate.
Come on, we know he's going to get.
He'll get a license.
It'll be at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, but we know that's what I mean. So we know he's going to get a license.
It just depends how long it takes, because obviously there's the board and the I don't know, they go to a court hearing or whatever. I don't know.
He'll get a license.
Probably, yeah. But what I'm saying is, it's how long that's going to take.
He's got more money to spend on a legal team than the board have.
Well, I can guarantee you that if they agree terms for Eubank v Ben, no matter what findings and all this rubbish, his license will not be held up.
Well, let's be honest, Daz. Let's be honest. Eubank Jr. versus Smith 2 wouldn't have happened if he could have got that Ben fight over the line. That's the truth.
No, definitely not.
So, on that note, let's move down the pecking order, down the card a little bit. Fraser Clark versus Dave Allen. So, I'll come to you first on this one, Andy. Give us your thoughts on this one. Scrappy affair.
Well, Dave Allen did what he needed to do to stay in the fight. And to be honest with you, I thought he was frustrating Fraser Clark a lot. Fraser Clark was getting mad. He was getting wound up. But he was boxing well, Fraser Clark. Probably the best I've seen him box as a pro. Dave Allen's a tough character. He's a real tough unit in there.
He looked a bit fleshy to me, though.
Well, yeah, he's probably going to be into it. He was never ripped when he was in, when he was fighting regular at the very highest level.
He still looked a bit heavy to me. To say he's got a new S&C coach and etc. I thought he looked a bit heavy.
Maybe. Well, whatever. Whether that matters or not. Look at Tyson Fury. He's never not fleshy. I think Dave Allen got under Fraser Clark's skin in the fight, in the middle of the fight. I think Dave Allen, Fraser Clark was landing massive shots, and Dave Allen was going absolutely nowhere. Now, when you start talking about the low blows, Fraser Clark, in my opinion, is very lucky to have got the result. He should have been disqualified.
If you're the B side, he would have got disqualified.
He would have got disqualified. So Dave Allen's well within his rights to have taken the time he took. He's well within his rights to have pointed every one of them out to the referee, because every single one of them were low. Every single one. I mean, there's controversy about the Daniel Dubois one. Well, these were a million times lower, 6 inches lower. You know, I mean, look how low Dave Allen's shorts were.
Yeah.
You know, his shorts were lower than the top of the defender, and half of them shots were landing lower than his trim on his shorts. So
I wasn't impressed with Fraser Clark one iota. I think if you talk about him being world level, he needs to be dealing with people like Dave Allen.
Oh, he's not world level. He's not world level, is he?
He's got aspirations to be. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, but he's not there yet, is he? Fraser Clark is probably British level max, and I'm on that performance. I'm not convinced he would win the British title right now. He was asked a lot of questions, mate, and Dave Allen really got under his skin. Now, Fraser Clark won every round, so if you look at it like that, he was winning the fight convincingly. But the more the fight was going on, the more Dave Allen was. I know this sounds ridiculous because Fraser won every round, but the more Dave Allen was turning the screw, and he was starting to throw his shots. He was starting to throw them over on rights, and they were landing. Now, if that had gone on 2 or 3 more rounds, Fraser Clark might have been in a bit of trouble. Dave Allen would have had to have knocked him out to win the fight, though, which I couldn't have seen happening with what was going on. So Fraser Clark probably would have won the fight on points if it had gone that far. Dave Allen's saying he pulled out because of a perforated eardrum, I believe. And then Fraser Clark goes over at the end and didn't do himself any favours when it comes to popularity, because all he had to do was shake his hand and go good fight, and he's arguing about all the low blows, and he's arguing about Dave Allen pulling out of the fight and complaining. Come on, Fraser. Just get your hand raised and do your interviews, and you won't have to worry about it. I mean, Fraser Clark's saying that there's definitely 100% not going to be a rematch with Dave Allen, and obviously Dave Allen's crying out for one, so we'll see where it goes.
I mean, he made a few naughty comments about his promoter, didn't he, in the post-fight press? Again, uncalled for, mate, isn't it? He didn't need to go there. Whether they're true or not is another matter, but he didn't need to go there. We couldn't possibly comment, could we?
No.
So, Darren, coming on to you, what were your thoughts on the fight?
It was forgettable. Listen, do you know what? I think Fraser fights better when he's got a bit of spite behind him, when he gets a little bit pissed off.
Yeah.
Because he threw some good shots when he were a bit pissed off. Do you know what I mean? And usually you won't advocate that. You'd say, listen, if you can use that sort of emotion, then it's a good thing to do if it works for you. But I'm going to defend Fraser a little bit in his comments after, only for the fact that he was giving an interview and Dennis then decided to start shouting, interrupting his interview, which, listen, it's not very classy in itself.
No, it's not.
It's the man's getting interviewed, let him get interviewed. You don't have to be shouting and roping. Listen, a rematch means nothing. Dave Allen weren't in the same class as Fraser.
No.
And it's time. I think it's time to go for Dave, to be fair.
One final payday, right, Daz? That was.
I'd like to think so. It's a bit of a. Dave seems to be a bit of a gimmick that's worn thin with people. likable and one at lads and this out of a bit. It just, it just seems like, I don't know. Is it just an act? And he's obviously done well out of boxing. He's, but no, he's an injury waiting to happen for me if he carries on.
Were you surprised? Daz, that Jamie Moore trained him for this fight?
Well, I don't think he exclusively trained him, mate, because I think he's been training at Roger Sampson's gym as well.
Right, okay.
In Sheffield. So he's not been exclusively trained by Jamie Moore, which he's probably... Listen, or Roger Sampson. Roger Sampson's a very good trainer. Jamie Moore's a very good trainer. Pick one. But he's untrainable. He's untrainable. He thinks he knows it all. How can you want to compete for British titles training yourself? Do you know what I mean? These things that you'll do that you will not spot, or these things that you don't do that you will not spot. You need a trainer. You need a trainer. You can't train yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I'd just like to think that, listen, do you know what? I'm probably being a bit harsh with him there because he's only young still. I think he's 31. If he knuckles himself down, chooses a trainer, sticks with it, has a couple of, easier fights than that, but not like the ones he had to prepare for Fraser. A couple of decent little tests, gradually stepping up, then let's see what you can do. But while ever you're training yourself and going from gym to gym to gym, then it's not going to work. You're just going to be cannon fodder.
Just let me just pick these comments up in the sidebar. JAM84 I said destruction by Eubank. He's also said Eubank had to drop more weight. Smith's weight excuse is feeble.
Smith looked the same. He might have looked the same, but
I don't understand that,
when you're dropping God knows how much weight, it don't mean you're going to perform the same.
Just going back onto that comment on Eubank had to drop more weight. What, more weight than 3 stone? Eubank walks around at super middleweight, pretty much. He's barely over the weight. He consistently trains. Eubank. There's one thing you can say about Eubank is he's very, very, very fit all the time. Eubank's not a fighter that puts on a stone in between fights. Don't do that. You'll get him at maybe 175 max. Do you reckon?
I don't even think that high.
You don't even think that high?
No. So coming on to the next fight then, Jack Cullen versus Efron. I'll be honest with you, this might be a little bit controversial here, but I thought this would epitomise how far the super middleweight division drops in this country. There you go, I've said it. Because, for these two to be competing for a British and Commonwealth title, not for me. I don't think they would have. I don't think they've been anywhere near the top of the division in any other era. And I just think it shows how poor the super middleweight division is currently domestically. So there you go, I've said it, and I'll come to Darren first to break the fight down.
Controversial, mate. Controversial.
I'm allowed an opinion, Dad, aren't I?
Yeah. It's a strange one, really. I think Cullen seemed to be brought in as cannon fodder for me. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are expecting Efron to stop him, me included. But Efron just seemed to be just trying to wing shots in out of range. Cullen kept him at range, and then just caught him with a nice left hook, and that was that. But yeah, I mean, the standard's not massively great, mate. When you look at past super middleweights, it is a bit
They got smoked.
Listen, mate. I mean, listen. I'll choose one that not many people would remember. I mean, obviously, you got your Calzaghes, your Frotches, obviously. Listen. They want to listen. These two want to live with David Storey, mate.
I know that name, yeah.
David Storey. Yeah, I mean, David Storey would have beat both of these. You know, Dean Francis, God bless him, he would have beaten both of these. Do you know what I mean? We've been spoilt with super middleweights, to be fair, in this country.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not great, that, to be fair. So I get your point.
What about you, Andy?
I was very surprised at the way Efron fought. I know Cullen's a tall, rangy fighter, but it's been shown in previous fights. Kevin Saggio being one of them, that you get inside Cullen and you can very easily land them big shots. But Efron wasn't trying to get inside; he was trying to land them big shots that Saggio landed, but he was trying to land them from range. It was never going to work against Jack Cullen. But you got to give Cullen credit. He's been knocked spark out, you know, in 6 rounds and in 4 rounds in 2 of his previous 3 fights, and he's come back and done a number on Efron. To be fair, you know, you got to give him credit for that.
To be fair, and all, not going back as far as Story. I mean, Groves and De Gale would have at these two and all, wouldn't they? To be fair,
yeah.
You know,
the division is what it is, but we're talking about British level here and not world level. You know, all the fighters that you two have mentioned there were world level fighters.
Well, Story weren't. Story were British.
Apart from him, the others were.
Yeah, I mean, even Eamon, McGee, Brian McGee, mate.
What about Reed? Robin Reed.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Robin Reed were a world champion, weren't he? I mean, can you say he weren't world level when he was WBC champ?
McGee's a good shot, though, the Northern Irish lad.
Yeah, Brian McGee, mate, would have at these two. There's quite a few. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry. We need to pick these comments up, Carl, in the sidebar. You're having a conversation with JAM84 in the sidebar, and really we need to bring it to air. So he's saying, hold on, let me get back up to the comments. Smith team were very poor losers as well. Bad luck. Eubank comes out of this looking brilliant. And he's also said, great stuff from Chris. He's put that he should be fighting. He should be fighting Triple G or Canelo. But he's calling out Ben and who else is he called out?
Brook.
Ben and Brook. Why is he calling out Ben and Brook if he should be in a ring with Canelo? I know he's called out Triple G, but we're talking about.
He doesn't belong in a ring with Canelo, does he? Come on, let's have it right. He doesn't belong. Even like put in the comment, even an aging Triple G and Canelo, he doesn't belong in the ring with them. On the back of one performance.
Well, this is what I was going to say about the performance last night. Is Liam being so poor in that fight has made Eubank look probably better than he actually is. Because before the fight, I said on the last show we did that we were talking to Joe in the sidebar, and I said to Joe, what's where are you getting the confidence from that Eubank wins this fight? What has he done against anybody at world level to show that he's capable of winning? And I stick by if the real Liam Smith had been in there, it'd have been a different result. But that's not the fact. Eubank did what he did against the person that was in the ring.
But when all said and done, Andy, sorry jumping in, when Liam Smith was a prime Liam Smith, he took Eubank out quickly. When Liam Smith was on prime form, he gave Canelo one of his hardest fights he'd had in a long, long time, let's be honest.
Yeah, he did, as long as it lasted.
Let's not rule him out. That's what I said to JAMH4. Let's not rule Liam Smith out on one bad performance, because every fighter has an off day. He's saying that we give Chris no credit. If you listen to the earlier part of the show, we have given him credit. But what I would say,
he might have only joined after that.
He can only beat the fighter that's in front of him.
Yeah.
Admittedly, Chris. But I would like to see a prime Liam Smith go up against this version of Eubank Jr. because it'll be a good fight.
He's put maybe you're ruling Eubank out. The problem is JAM84. We're not ripping into Eubank at all. But you've got to look at history. Eubank's been a pro fighter for what, 10, 15 years?
And what's he done?
Exactly. That's my point. He's had opportunities.
He's won at IBO though. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Won at IBO.
He's had opportunities. He was handed a contract to fight Triple G, and he didn't sign it. And that was when Triple G was in his absolute prime, and then Kell Brook stepped in, and we all saw what happened there. Why didn't he take that fight? If he believed in himself that much, why did he not sign that contract?
It's because he waits for Father Time to catch up with these fighters and then jumps in with them when they're spent. That's the truth. If you want to get down to the bones of it, that's what he tends to do.
I just don't understand the
James DeGale, another example where he waited and jumped in with him when he was about 54.
He did beat James DeGale right at the end of his career. Chris Eubank proved his world level last night. I don't think he did, JM, if I'm being honest. He proved he can beat a fighter that wasn't anywhere near his normal level. That's what he proved. I'm not taking it away from him. He looked loads better last night, Eubank. Probably the best I've seen him for a very long time. But even so, that doesn't mean he's world level. Liam Smith's a world level fighter when he's at his best. He was far from his best last night. So to say that on that one performance he's world level, I think it's a little bit short-sighted. But that's just, you've got your opinion. That's the whole point of the show.
You got your opinion, but you're wrong.
But it's his opinion, Carl. He's allowed it.
Yeah, that's what the show's all about. His opinion, but he's wrong.
It's what the show's all about. I just I've got to go with Carl on this and say that one performance doesn't prove his world level. If you're talking about Canelo being the yardstick, then he's not anywhere near that. I think the problem with the Triple G fight is that fight's likely to get made, Carl, and Triple G is nowhere near the Triple G that
still got enough to beat Eubank.
I'm not convinced about that.
Yeah,
though.
yes, yeah.
I don't think he's got enough left. Look at the state of him in the Canelo fight, mate.
That's
he was
Canelo.
A punching bag at times.
But that's Canelo.
I know it's Canelo, but Eubank.
We can't put Eubank in the same sentence as Canelo.
Eubank's still got the speed to do damage in that fight and get out.
Got no pop. He'll bounce off Triple G.
He would have bounced off Triple G in his prime for certain. He didn't belong in the ring then, but now it's a different matter.
He won't fight Triple G anyway because he comes out of all these big names and he'll end up jumping in with Kell Brook. We all know it. So it'll be Kell Brook next, and then it'll be Ben.
Just on that comment he's just made, JM84, you're underestimating Chris Eubank. What, other than last night, put last night to one side, JM. Other than last night, what are you basing that on? Where are you getting your belief in Eubank from? Because I haven't seen a performance from Chris Eubank that tells me he's going to be a world champion.
It's all about context. That's what it's all about. He beat a Liam Smith who's clearly off his game last night, for whatever reason that might be. So, and he's putting what has Smith done? World titles for one. So, as much as you're saying we don't like Eubank Jr., I've got a sneaky feeling you don't like Liam Smith. To not give him the credit and I'd be asking what he's done in his career.
Hold on a second, Carl. I've got to pick up this one because it's doing me head in. Smith should be ashamed of his performance last night. Smith couldn't move his feet. He couldn't throw punches. Clearly couldn't absorb the shots like he would normally do. The fact that he stayed in the fight as long as he stayed in the fight shows what Liam Smith is all about. He shows what he's all about. he was so far under his best. It's untrue. He didn't even look like the same fighter. He would have got beat by last night. He would have got beat by numerous fighters on that performance. But that don't mean they're better than him. He had a bad night, a really bad night for whatever reason. You know, we can only go on what he's saying. But to say he should be ashamed, that's just not right, mate.
That's what happens when you meet a better boxer. He must be on the wind up, to be honest. He must be on the wind up. So
what do you put the first fight down to then, JM? What do you put the first fight down to? If Eubank, you know, if Eubank is the better boxer and he did a number on Liam Smith this time, what about the first fight? What's that down to?
So he's put, okay, I respectfully disagree, take care. Look, JM84, you're allowed your opinions, what it's all about. But obviously we're all going to defend our opinions. I'm just not sure where you get this confidence from for Eubank Jr. on the back of one victory. So,
Cole, shall we pick up the Adam Azim fight?
Yep. So break that one down.
So Adam Azim, this was his 9th fight. He's going in against clearly a very good fighter.
Yeah.
Whether you want to call him world level, fringe world level, European level, a very, very good fighter, very tough.
He needed this sort of fight, didn't he? He needed it.
Absolutely, mate. And the fact, and it was good that he realised early on in the fight he wasn't going to blow this guy out. So he stuck behind his jab. I have a couple of concerns about Adam Azim. I'll be honest. I think he comes out of shots too high and too upright. And clearly his opponent saw that, and that's why he was trying to land that big hook. Every time Adam threw a shot, he tried to land that big hook. He was throwing it from too far out, but he tried to land the big hook. If that would have caught him, he might have been in a bit of trouble. I don't know what you think, Daz. I don't know if you saw that fight.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, he does some things really. He does things really well, Adam. I get what you're saying. Comes out a bit high. I think he looks for one single power shot a bit too much. But you know, these fights will stand him in good stead, mate.
Absolutely, mate. I've got a lot of. I think he's got world champion written all over him. I do. And his team are not daft. He's in a very, very good gym. Me and Cole joke about it all the time. But I've got a lot of time for the McGuigan gym. I think they've done wonders. I think they've done. Don't pull a face. I think they've done wonders. And they've won. They've taken people to world titles that no one else has been able to or would be able to. I don't think. So I think they'll see that. They'll watch that fight back and they'll see what Adam was doing there. Because clearly that's not something they train. You don't train a fighter to throw a combination and then come out back with your chin high up in the air, upright.
I think Ben Shalom needs to calm down a bit without Adam Azim and let him learn his craft, because I'll be honest with you, he's been a bit of a flag bearer for boxing, hasn't he? Ben Shalom's been saying about him being world class for a long, long time now. And I think it's undue attention. He doesn't need that attention. Let him learn his craft. Yeah. And then let him just take his time to get through the levels. I hear it all the time from Ben Shalom. I just think to myself, just let the lad learn his craft. Don't keep putting the spotlight on him.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, mate. Yeah, we have to stop and think that that was only his 9th pro fight.
It feels like he's been around forever because of the amount of attention that Ben Shalom puts onto him. Now, I know he's promoting. I'm all for the commercial side of the game, but there's got to be that. They've got to manage. There's got to be some balance to it.
Yeah.
If you're not careful, you're gonna put too much pressure on the kid, and he's clearly a talent. So I think Eddie earns a good blueprint, because one thing he can do is manage a fighter's profile and his journey. I just think Ben Shalom sometimes is keen to please Sky a little bit, and throws him in a little bit, and he's on all the Sky Sports news and this, that, and the other. As much as we talk about it being a good vehicle, it is, but when used correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly still very raw. he's had 9 fights, but what you got to think about is he's knocking people out for fun in the first 7 or 8 of them. So this is the first one where he's kind of had to think while he's been in there and adapt. And he did very well at that. He did very well at that, Cole. I know I've just picked on a couple of things that I think, and they'll improve on them. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I mean, they've got to drill that out of him though, because he can't be going into world level fights with world level fighters doing that sort of thing. But like I say, that will get a drill out of him. You won't see him doing that in the next fight. I'm absolutely sure of it. I think he needs a bit more time. I think a few more fights like this, with a fighter of this standard, will do him the world of good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it now, he's got Dalton Smith at British British champion in that division. At what stage do you start talking about Adam Azim against?
I've been Dalton Smith beats him
right now.
Yeah, I think if the jumping, I think Dalton Smith's a bit more savvy.
What would you say on that fight right now, Daz?
Yeah, Dalton wins it. I think he's. I think Dalton's got a bit of age on him as well. He's only 21, Adam Azim.
He is, yeah.
So
I thought that's also something that we probably forget about.
Yeah, there's no need to rush. No need to rush at all. But
what about the English? What about the English title then, Lucas Borlington?
Oh, I think he wins that now.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, he wins that now. Yeah, he's on that. I mean, to be fair, take Dalton Smith out of the equation, he'd probably win. He'd probably win British title against anyone else.
See,
Dalton's not going to be hanging around too much longer, though. I
think he's world class, Dalton Smith.
Yeah,
I think he's world class. I think Adam's got a way to go. Yeah, I think he's still quite naive.
I think they'll fight for a world title, me. But it'll probably be maybe, I don't know, would it be a vacant one? I don't know, because you can't really say Dalton's a shoo-in to win a world title.
No, he's not a shoo-in.
With the people that's about, it's tough. But he's definitely going to, world class, going to be world class, Dalton, definitely.
And I've still got that little doubt about boxing regarding, can they get the big fights? Can they draw the big fighters over to the UK and pay the money to get them in the ring?
Yeah, there is that.
We'll see, because they need to, don't they? I mean, you can't be sending Dalton, unless it has to be that way. You can't be sending Dalton Smith over to wherever to fight for his.
Dalton's with his own, isn't he?
Yeah, Dalton's with his own.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're good enough,
and the money's right,
you'll go wherever.
Yeah, true. But obviously, you try and get your fighter. Yeah, you try and get your fighter all the opportunity, don't you?
You don't want them. You don't want. Ideally, you don't want them going to Guadalajara and fighting someone from Guadalajara, do you? For a world title. But if you're good enough to win that world title, you're good enough to win it wherever. 30,000 Mexicans can't get in ring with your opponent. So, you've just got to treat it. I get what you're saying. I totally understand it, and that's been going on for years. But
just that does it. It's the judges.
That's what I mean. But if you're good enough, you're good enough, aren't
you? Yeah.
What do you guys? Just moving on then. What do you guys think about the situation that was kind of unfolding on screen? Michaela Mayer and
Tasha Jonas.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Michaela May is clearly growing. She's still clearly growing into that weight, isn't she?
Yeah, she doesn't need to be fighting at that weight. She looked terrible. I thought she looked terrible.
I thought it was a sluggish performance.
Yeah, she looked like she was stuck
She clearly wants to push for the Jonas fight, though. I mean, I think Jonas beats her convincingly.
Yeah, definitely. Jonas stops her, for me.
She was
the one thing Jonas has done is she's carried that power that she's always had. She's carried.
Michaela Mayer should not be fighting at welterweight.
No.
She looked fleshy. She looked a bit fleshy right middle. She looked sluggish, slow.
Do you think they might bring that fight down to lightweight?
What, Jonas and
Only if the money's right for Jonas. Why would she?
Why would Jonas give up a world title to go down to fight?
Well, there's nothing to say she's got to give the world title up to fight her against to fight Michaela at a lower weight.
Why Yo-Yo though?
Yeah.
Why Yo-Yo?
I mean, that's
like you just said. Like you just said, if the money's right,
she's the A side though. She's the A side.
If the money's
no way I'd be going down.
Cole, you've just said it yourself. If the money's right,
if she's the A side, so Mayo comes up to your weight. If you're the world champion, why would we be going down to a lighter weight when there's no strap on the line?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you said. I get what you're saying.
Did have to offer an hell of a lot of money, I think, for Natasha to go down to lightweight.
Just playing devil's advocate a little bit. You know, Natasha's kind of struggling for a fight at the minute. So, you know, why?
She holds all the cards, though, don't she? She's a world champion.
I think Boxer didn't really cover the Selling Glory yesterday, to be fair. For one, I mean, I made a point of it on Twitter, just going off the Maya fight. I mean, Lauren Price on the YouTube broadcast. I mean, Olympic gold medalist, British champ, you know, first women's British champion on YouTube broadcast.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Against a fighter who, listen, had a good record on paper, but was absolutely shocking. She looked like she'd never done a footwork drill in her life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was like...
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it weren't good, mate. Yeah. It weren't good. Oh. But...
Yeah, I'm not even sure what I'd give that card out of 10 because it wasn't the greatest of entertaining fights, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you looked on paper and you know, it looked like there was going to be some real barnstormers. I mean, that Marcoux fight was over before I even sat down and looked at it.
Mate, do you know what? I like Florian, you know. A lot of people don't. But I like him. I think he's a decent fighter. I think he's a good fighter.
I think he's a bit misunderstood with the accent and the.
I just think it's you know, I think he's a decent guy, to be fair, because you know he went into dressing room afterwards and he were, you know, everything's all respectful after. Listen, you sell a fight, don't you? And you know, you get a bit. Listen, you're not there to.
Pantomime.
You know, you're not there to, you know, be friendly at first, but you know, I think it's all good after. And I like him. I do like Florian as a fighter. But, mate, that kid's record, mate, had more padding than Benson's for beds.
Yeah.
I know, mate.
You know,
the problem with the card is what do you do with Michaela Mayer? You don't bring her over and you don't put her on a YouTube show and then bring one of the other fighters through onto the main show. You don't. It's hard to know what to do in that situation. Clearly, you've got to have the Efron fight's got to be on the main card because it's a British title. Adam Azim is their next big star. He's going to be on the live show.
But let's be honest.
Fraser Clark, Dave Allen looked like it could be a bit of a barnstormer. That was bound to be on the main show. So then it's not leaving a lot of room.
But more people are interested in Lauren Price's journey than they are watching Michaela Mayer in the UK. In my view, I know ESPN were on board as well, but why bring her over for a nothing fight?
Because clearly they got it in their heads that they're going to get her and Natasha Jonas together, which they did, and talk about making a fight between them. On
the back of that. Well, let her jump in with someone half decent in that weight class first.
That was the whole point of bringing her over, wasn't it? To put her in front of Natasha Jonas, who was going to be there on commentary, and then have them stood next to each other and try and talk about a fight. That was the whole point.
It looked dreadful. It looked dreadful, didn't it?
Oh, it did. I'm not saying it didn't, mate, but I'm saying that's the whole reason of bringing her over. That's the only reason she was there fighting.
Yeah, she weren't great. Tasha Jonas demolishes her, I think, on that performance.
She's Terry Harper.
Yeah, Terry Harper. Yeah, of course she does. I mean, Terry Harper's. I mean, if I don't think she belongs at welter, she definitely don't belong at light middle.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
And there's some strange production last night, wasn't there, where they followed the boxer before they even hit the arena. They followed them up with, there was no music or anything. It felt a bit awkward, really.
Yeah, it's a bit.
It's a bit strange.
They've started doing that a lot. I don't know why they do that. Following him through the car park.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Yeah. And then you had Aziz versus Buatsi facing off, didn't you? Which lasted far too long. You know, there's almost smirking at each other about.
The thing is, they know. The problem is
the friends
probably
are
something like that.
It was too long, though, wasn't it?
Really well.
It was too long. The steer off was too long. It's ridiculous.
They know each other really, really well. I mean, that only works, don't it, if there's a lot of needle between two fighters. And it's clearly not. There's too much respect. You know, they live in the same area. They've trained at the same gyms in the past.
I can understand why they've done it, because neither of them have got any profile, have they? So they've got to build that fight, if we're being brutally honest. So, you know, they have to get eyeballs on them. But I just thought it was a bit cringy, that's all.
Decent fight, though, Carl.
It will be a decent fight. It's a trade fight, though, because, like I said, both their profiles, they're not exactly the most.
As you brought it up, let's talk about it for 5 minutes. Give us your breakdown, Carl. Who wins?
Yeah, I think Buatsi will beat him. I think Buatsi will actually outclass him, if I'm honest with you. I quite like Buatsi. He just hasn't got any profile. So, to make it short and sweet for you, I think Buatsi is going to give him a boxing lesson over 12 rounds. He'll have a little bit. He'll have a little bit of success, but I think Buatsi wins wide points. Maybe even a late stoppage.
I've not been overly impressed with Buatsi in the last few fights. He was hailed as this next big star at one point, and I don't think he's lived up to that reputation one little bit.
I think he'll be one of them fighters, though, Andy, who get better with he'll get better with the better opponents he faces, if that makes sense.
Maybe. He didn't look great against Richards, though. Richards is fringe world level. Daz, what's your opinion on the fight? Is this too soon for his opponent?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a good fight for both. Good time. I think Buatsi wins it. I think he gives him a bit of a boxing lesson. I think. Is this not an opportunity for Dan Aziz to prove what he's all about? And yeah, but he can try. But I just think the better quality boxing's from Buatsi. So I think it'd be I think it's going to be a fairly safe points decision for Buatsi for me.
Right. Boxers are since touching on what Carl said earlier, since Buatsi's moved to box, what have they done with him?
Not a lot. They don't seem to be doing a lot with anyone, to be fair.
No.
I mean, he's gone there for world title shots, surely. Surely when they've took him from Matchroom, surely he's been talked into going there because they've said, oh, we can get you world title shots, surely.
You'd have thought so, but they just, I don't know, they're not doing great at minute boxer, are they?
No, I'll be interested to see what Sky do when that deal comes up for renewal. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you believe what Eddie Earns says, Buatsi turned down the Bivol fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why Eddie would lie.
What does that tell you about Buatsi's place, position, confidence?
But it was a 3-fight deal, wasn't it? So he wasn't just a Bivol fight. He had to have another 2 fights with his own, and that's where the sticking point comes from, allegedly.
Oh, right. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with Carl overall, though. It was maybe not the show that I thought it might be. I thought it looked like it was a decent card. I thought the gal was going to give Maya a lot more trouble, and Maya might look a bit sharper because I think she's got something to prove. To be honest, should she have stayed where she was though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, now you've found out with the Baumgardner situation. It's very easy to turn around and say, "Well, was Baumgardner on something when she fought Maya? Was she doing something then?" Easy to point that finger, and I don't hear Maya coming out and saying anything about that. But she looked very comfortable at that weight, kind of winning fights fairly easily, looking quite sharp. And like you say, she didn't look very sharp the other night. She was carrying too much weight, wasn't she?
Yeah, she did for me. But Right, I'm gonna have to shoot off, lads.
Yep, we'll bring your show to a close anyway. So, Dad, thank you very much for joining on this Sunday special.
Right,
Andy,
mate.
thank you for joining. This has been Last World Boxing with lwliftings.co.uk. Back same time Thursday, 7 p.m. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.